That's right, everybody. It is Hunt Showdown 1896 time. It is right around the corner. I have been so excited. I have been working on the biggest project yet. I have been working on this for a while. And this video is going to be a long one, so sit back, relax, and we're going to talk. We're going to dive in this head first into the new UI and prestige changes, and then we'll move to gameplay and trait changes, and then we'll further go into equipment and weapon changes, and finally we'll talk about the new map, Mammon's Gulch. I'm going to do my research and put timestamps in there, because right now I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So we're going to figure it out. I have done my research. We're grabbing clips. There's an interview that we're clipping from for the map purposes, and I'll have a link to that in the bottom. So this is going to be fun. You guys are going to see exactly how geeky I can be about something I'm passionate about, and Hunt Showdown is definitely one of those things. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's dive into it. Diving into the new UI is, I'm actually really excited about it. It's a very controversial subject in Hunt Showdown right now. Everybody's saying it looks like everybody else, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It looks like everybody else's because it works. It's works for both platforms. It's very computer ready. It's console ready, and somebody who plays both, it makes it more user friendly for me because now I can just hook up my controller to the computer and have an easier navigation just as well as using mouse and keyboard if I wanted to. Makes it more universal for me. The fact that you can favorite things is fucking amazing. I wish I could do that right now. I mean, it is, I'm glad it's happening right around the corner because I have been wanting to favorite things a while. Like, we have loadout kind of things where we can favorite a loadout, have presets and stuff like that. That is game breaking, and not just game breaking, but it's ease of life. It makes navigating so much easier, and I think overall the new UI is absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't ask for a better change when it comes to this. I mean, we could, get preset health bars, but that's asking a little too much. But overall, it looks amazing. The graphic fidelity in just the screen itself is phenomenal. And they're removing a lot of the clutter. They're removing the trials. They're removing the library. Although I do like the library, I like the lore. So I do hope they bring that back somehow, or at least like the monstertorium and stuff like that. The lore behind the guns. I would like the library to still kind of be there, but it's a tab that I rarely go to. But they're all being replaced with the prestige system, so it's not like, oh, there goes that skin forever, because it's going to the prestige system. And for the people who already have completed the trials, you still have that skin. It's not locked behind the prestige anymore. Now there's even more incentive to prestige, and for that, I am really excited. In fact, when the August 15th release happens, by the way, if you don't know, I'm going to be streaming August 15th into 16th. We're probably going to do a 32-hour plus stream, depends on how I feel after the 32 hours. Um, I will be prestiging on my PlayStation for the first time in forever, and we'll actually be going through the ranks there, as well as we're going to be playing on the computer. So we're going to be learning the new map, learning the new hunt on both mouse and keyboard and controller. Oh, and we're probably going to continue to prestige all the way up till 100, because there's that the intro, or the the tutorial character who walks you through the tutorial is actually a playable character, and that is cool. Now we're going to talk about gameplay changes, and we're going to start off with fall damage. They have more reliably made fall damage calculate. So, and that really works with the new map. We'll get to that later on because that's a discussion for a later topic. But the fall damage is now more responsive. Instead of landing on a slope and getting damaged multiple times, you're only getting damaged for what the final drop or most accurate drop would be, and that is really nice. And along with gameplay changes, they are adding traits back like witness, which you could dark sight, see dead bodies, loot dead bodies, or get health off of dead bodies. And they're bringing back one of my all-time favorite traits, Shadow Leap, which if you dark sight and you see a zombie, you hold that position for a little bit or hold, the angle on the zombie, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're where that zombie is. And honestly, it is one of my all-time favorite traits. And that brings us to the next topic about the traits, and they are adding categories of traits like scarce and burn traits. Scarce are traits that you can only find in the wild, while burn traits, they are removed off your hunter once they're done being used. And Necromancer now is a burn trait. So it is, once it is used, it is done. That means one self revive. That means one necro revive from a partner. It's bonkers. And it's still a 4-point trait, which again, it's a nice change from at least from my solo standpoint, I can revive till my health bar is done. I have the self-control to know when the battle's done, though, so I'll revive maybe once or twice before it's like, you know what? No, it's not worth it. But there are some people out there that will continuously stand up even if you're watching their dead body because they want a D rank. And yeah, they fixed that part, but this is a step in the right direction and a lot less stalemates. They're also making the stalemates a lot less with the fact that choke bombs only last a minute now, and then burning is sped up as well. So there's that. And they're also adding true sound travel from distance. So bullet cracks will happen. You'll see the explosion before you hear them. Things like that. I don't think any other game does that. Overall, with these trait changes, I am ecstatic. And then with these gameplay changes, I'm ecstatic. And this is probably about the most hype I've been for a video game since a teenager when Call of Duty Zombies came out. Now, let's dive into weapon and equipment changes. We'll start with the equipment and the all-time cool factor. I'm not one that typically places traps. I play way too aggressively to think about traps, but they are adding traps to where you can put them in windows, uh, you can put them at any angle, or they're a lot more flexible, I guess you could say. And I actually might become a trapper, especially with this new map, with the mines and everything. This might become an actual calling for me to actually start picking up some traps and actually start utilizing them. Because typically I just run and gun no matter what loadout I have. But this might actually make me strategically maneuver around and actually start placing stuff because I gotta remember I might be the first one there. I'm typically not, but I could be. And I need to think about what happens if I am. And placing traps at different angles, like I can picture it now, head level, wire in the window. Bad time. That brings us into the weapons category. They have done the unforgivable, in my opinion, and they have changed all the sights to kind of be uniform. And the thing that I liked about using certain weapons is that it looked so different. The sights changed. The label was such a tight square. The Winfield was wide and open. The Berthier wide and open. The new weapons really wide and open. But now they have universally made it to where the needle in the front and then the wide it's a wider sight of view, I guess, which falls in line with other ones, but that's what made Hunt Showdown different. But the one change I will agree with these sight changes is the Silent Winfield and Silent Sparks addition to their new sights, chopping off that top part, chopping off the unnecessary clutter on the screen, and that is beautiful. Other weapons changes, I guess you could say this is the hip sight. They have made a center crosshair. Now, I've been playing lowered crosshair for so long that it is hard for me to pick up any other FPS and be okay. So I'm probably still going to keep it at the lowered setting, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try it centered once because you do get to see a little bit more of the ground, and with the new trap thing, I actually might need it centered. And that brings us to probably the biggest weapon change, and that is bullet drop. This is a game changer. Hunt Showdown, for as long as I've played it, hasn't had bullet drop, and that has been crazy because I was in Hunt Showdown when the hand crossbow was a 2-slot weapon. I was with Hunt Showdown when the weapon themselves had the ammo variants as weapon variants. That's what I remember. And for it to now have bullet drop, which means guns are going to start acting like crossbows at a far distance, this might change up how I play, especially with the new map. I am going to experiment more with sniping because I feel like I could probably even hit my shots a little bit more. Um, because it's not the muzzle velocity that gets me, it's the idea of that the my brain says bullet drop should happen, so I'm gonna aim at their hat, and then I miss their head completely. So adding bullet drop actually might make me hit my shots a little bit better. So let's dive into the last topic, the new map. And before we can talk about the new map, let's first talk about what's happening to the old maps. Because Hunt is basically re releasing, where it is now Hunt Showdown 1896. So, what is happening to the old maps? They're going to get put on, for at least the first 30 days, the back burner. We're only going to be able to play the new map while they revamp the old maps. And so, in fact, let's just hear what the dev has to say about it.
This is our most polished map we've ever shipped, and it's a big leap forward for us on visual fidelity, both on Gen 9 consoles, but also on PC as well. And so, as we were going through this map, we identified all of the assets that we were able to up-res and also just redo because we have a higher budget because our engine can support it. So all of our maps are going to be getting the similar love. So there is major updates coming to our existing, like maps 1 through 3, that'll be brought to the same level of visual fidelity. And in a couple of them, in like map 2 is a good example, we are looking to intentionally make gameplay changes to some of the compounds to kind of alleviate some of the pain points that our players have expressed to us.
So yeah, for the first 30 days, it's only going to be the new map, and then they're going to release Stillwater. That doesn't mean they're going to release the other 3 maps. I think they're going to get revamped, and we're going to see a slow progression. At least every month or so, we're going to get a new edition of map Lost in Delsa, and then the my brain wow, the third map. We all know what that one is, which is interesting because not only are we getting a new hunt experience, we're being removed or stripped away from the old maps to then get them again in a newer experience. So, anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the new map. And boy, oh boy, is it one of the most fantastic night and day from Hunt 1896 from the prior Hunt Showdown. These graphic fidelity, it rivals Crisis, if I do say so myself. The beauty, it's almost like Crisis 3. It's almost Red Dead Redemption 2 like. It is such a beautiful landscape. So with that, let's look at an overview of the map and some of the things that the devs said. So I have highlighted it and kind of made diagrams to kind of show what the map looks like. Here we have an overview of the map, and we'll look at the hot zones, which is typical for a Hunt Showdown map. It's towards the center, but it's not because of the POIs, which are actually on the outskirts, and that is atypical of Hunt Showdown. Furthermore, they discussed about compound to compound relationship, and they discussed that Molt had a view over Donovan, but Donovan also had a view over Gasworks into Molt. So there's some cross sections sniping, there's compound to compound relations, and to top it all off, they added this watchtower here where I think they put it, and they said that it has a view over all 3 of those compounds. So there is a lot of overview. And these are all just speculations, of course, of what I think the views would look like. I mean, obviously we know what the hot zones and the POIs are, but this is all just what they said and what I think I saw versus like what the overview would be. This might not be exactly what you see. So yeah, now that we've seen the overview, let's talk about the compounds. So there is 16 compounds, like always. Because I have a memory of a numbskull, I'm gonna actually read them off to you. We have Blackthorn Stockyard, Montreux's Malt, Terminus's Rail Yard. That'll be fun playing the Terminus for sure. Grizzly Lodge, O'Donovan Stone, Split River Mill, East Mountain Corn, Deadfall Timber, Lapata Mine, Orogato Mine, Kingfisher Foundry, Greystone Pit, The Gasworks, Preston Oil, and Miner's Folly. I am really excited to really see the center of the map as well as the outskirts. I'm really just excited about the map. This is a whole new experience. This is nothing like the other maps. In fact, the dev even says it himself.
It all started with our anchoring statement of we wanted to have mountains in the middle, and those mountains need to have mines. And so we started with, okay, let's create 2 mines. We're going to create these 2 mines and these mountain ranges in the middle. And how can we mold everything else around that? And does it play well? I'd say map 4 feels completely different than any map that you've ever played inside of Hunt Showdown.
This seems larger.
It's way more grand. And I'd say, Stefan Heinrich and the entire art team on this map have done such an incredible job of capturing how big this world is and how far we can push it. And that's a big shout out to our engine team for giving us the ability to be able to do that. So we wanted to push the boundaries across the board. We wanted to feel bigger than what it is. Even though the dimensions of the map are the same, we want players to feel this sense of verticality and this intentionality behind it to drive all of their decisions.
In the mines, The mines are honestly really cool. It's a darker cavern. It's a safer traverse. Like shotguns, bomb lances, and stuff now have a lot more safer travels and don't have to worry about those pesky snipers. But at the same time, once you have to go out and go into the compounds, or let's say the bounty's on an outskirt compound, well, now you don't have the safety of the mines, and now you also have to keep in mind that the snipers also might be on the mountains sniping you down.
Yeah. So in the center, a big focal point for us was in the center of our maps. We know that that's where all of our players funnel into. And so we kind of wanted to flip the experience on its head and say, hey, we're going to have two mines in the center of the map. And around those mines, there will be compounds that you can get to. So we have a north mine and a south mine. The north mine will connect you to certain compounds inside of there. And then there is a gap between the two mines, which also has two connecting compounds as well. That leads you to the south mine, which then leads you to another compound. So think of the heart of the map. You have compounds around the edge of the mines, and then you have a connecting route through the mines, which gives you a little bit more safe traversal. But at the same time, you're losing the information that you would normally get in our maps like Stillwater or any of the first three maps. Because when you're in the middle of the map, you normally have more information. You have more audio tells, and you have crows, and you have all these elements that kind of inform you where you're at. Yeah, so you can connect directly to 4 compounds inside of there. Yeah. And so 2 of them kind of back up directly into the mine, and then there's some that are a little bit more on the outskirts. But when you're going through these mines, you'll see signage for like La Plata Mine or O'Donovan Stone, and that's pointing you in the direction to the closest compound that's right there. What we see from our playtests and how everyone seems to be enjoying it is a little bit of a hide and go seek kind of experience where you go into the mine and you can set up some traps and you can really catch people off guard, but it's very safe inside of there. So you can peek out, look at a compound, get an understanding of if any threats are there, and then go back in and then reposition to get a different angle. So it's a little bit of hide and go seek, lots of trap gameplay, but the most important part of the mine, and all of our Hunt players know this, is normally when you get caught in a position in Hunt, it's very hard to get away from your opponents. You're normally like kind of a sitting duck, but in the mines, because there's a lot of different routes and it can lead to a lot of different areas on the map, you're actually able to reposition and flip the experience. So you have more time to heal, you have different advantage points, and you can kind of turn the tide on the enemy team if you get caught.
Which brings it into the next topic. Like this map, the dev even says it's adaptable. Like your loadout matters. Your loadout changes how you run or locate or relocate or anything. It determines your path in this map. Your loadout determines your path in the map.
When you think about like traditional Hunt compounds, right? You can kind of see a perimeter here, but this structure backs directly into the mine. And so when you enter the boss layer, you also have a direct shot into the mines, but that also means you have to be cognizant of the mine that's right there. The other thing is depending on where you approach, it's either you're fighting all the way on an upward angle or you're fighting down. So if you come from the mines, you're at the highest point of elevation of this compound and you are looking down and you're seeing every area down to the left. Whereas if you come from here, you're fighting up. If you come from the lower end, you have a very good idea as to where your enemies can be. But if you come from the higher side, we want to make sure that, well, you might not have perfect information, so you have to be more intentional with where your sightlines are, and you're more exposed. So you have more surprises, right? So you have a lot of more emergent fights that happen in areas that previously would be underutilized in our other maps. So it's really, you're kind of always, it's pulling a lever almost as to when you're going to get into engagement and how it's going to work. So I'd say this map more than ever is your loadout determines how you're going to play the map.
And that's going to be a whole new learning experience because I typically don't play snipers. I run and gun the whole time, so I'll probably be in the mines a lot. But I also want to change up my playing style. I want to be more diverse. So I am going to experiment with this map and I am going to love it. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And here, we're getting a first look at Oro Gato Mind, which seems to be one of the... Wait a sec. Does any of this give you Isengard vibes? Like, don't get me wrong. I know it's not looks anything alike, but it still gives me Lord of the Rings vibes for sure. Anyway, here's a different angle of the compound leading into the mines again. Very beautiful, very cohesive. It seems like it flows really nice. The compounds themselves having 4 to 6 entry points is going to make the pace a lot more dramatic. It's going to make it to where I'm not going to stay in the compound, and then they're also not just going to watch the compound because I have 5 other exits to leave. I have options. They have options.
It seems really exciting that like that system in particular is going to be pretty flexible. It seemed like,
Yeah.
but are there like particular limitations around it? So you wanted to avoid like I don't know players doing something truly, I don't know, like evil without the pace traps. You know what I mean?
Brutality and Hunt are pretty synonymous, so we leave it up to the player's creativity as to how far they'll push it with the traps. Now we do.
It's everybody has options, and I think that's what they really tried, and they really thought about us, and it's honestly do well.
And so for Mammon's Gulch, what we said is, hey, we're going to make sure that every compound has 6 meaningful entrances and exits for attackers and defenders. And so that's kind of like a loose rule with 6. Sometimes you get a little bit less, but ultimately the main goal was provide more entrances and exits for attackers and defenders to take into consideration, while at the same time saying, hey, we know that we want to increase the engagement between the two, but we don't want it to be too attackers friendly, and we don't want it to be too defender friendly. So try to strike a nice balance between that. This is one of the coolest compounds that we did. It's Quarry, so it's our take on a pit map. So very similar to any of the undergrounds that we've ever done, but we intentionally built it to say, okay, what are the problems that we have with our underground layers, and how can we build around that and really fix it?
And for the sound traps, it's the bats being exclusive to the cave, I think is necessary because of the fact that the bats distinguify cave entrance, cave out. So when you're an outsider, you know somebody is going into a cave or leaving a cave. And the cows being at specific locations, it's like the horses. I wonder if the horses are still going to be in this map. If so, now we have more visual or audio cues. So this Hunt's just doing Hunt things.
To say, hey, we need 2 new sound animal attractors. So we actually introduced bats, and we also introduced cows.
Do bats only appear in the caves or the mines?
Right now, yes, that is correct. We have aspirations to put them in more places, like inside of certain buildings to give you additional sound cues right now, but the bats in the mines just feels like such a slam dunk for us from a thematic sense that's where we put all the focus on. And candidly, you need a little bit more distinct audible call outs when people are leaving the mines because you have that covered. David, the GM, is notorious for placing 1,000,000 traps, and I hit every single one of them when I'm in his team. And it always gets me. And he's like, Scott, I pinged it. And I'm like, I know, but I missed it.
And I just love that clip there. The fact that the devs actually played the game really puts into wonders that it's like these people actually care about the community. They play it. They care about their gaming experience. They care about our gaming experiences, and therefore the development of Hunt continues. That's why a game so old can still be relevant, and it still is. I love playing Hunt, and actually I think with this new update, we're going to see even newer players. We're going to see Hunt Showdown possibly hit Apex levels. Probably not because it's not a free game, but it's going to be close. It's going to be an interesting. We're going to see more people in. We're going to see more console players in. We're going to see more PC players. I'm going to be more PC and console, and it's just wonderful. Anyway, I have been your host, Manuka Don Joe. This has been a blast. I have been nonstop excited. I've not really been sleeping. I have been so excited for this launch. I have been editing videos constantly. I know I haven't posted in a while. I was sick, but I mean, we're working towards greatness. Like, so what if the content's a little slow? Once the new release happens, it's going to be a lot more Hunt Showdown than the other games, but we are still going to sprinkle the little other games on here. Um, and honestly, this new Hunt Showdown, we're going to increase the Kraken. We're going to bring back Cracker Whack. We're going to be posting every Thursday. We're going to be posting every other Sunday. We're going to be streaming every whatever day I get a day off. It's probably going to be Tuesday, but it's going to be grand, and I am excited for this transition. I have been your host, Manuka Donjo, signing off this episode. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.
Hey, this is a new way to play Hunt.